So then just in brief, how is the actual PLAB 2 course, PLAB 2 exam rather conducted? So it's 16 stations, all right? And you have 14 actual stations where you will have to perform, okay, with the role player, and the examiner will be inside, with 2 rest stations. So the rest stations, you just literally, you sit on a chair and they have a few biscuits and a tea and coffee making station there. Trust me, no one makes any tea or coffee or even has a biscuit because you're so like nervous, you're not interested. You just want to get on to the next station as quick as possible. You need to pass at least 10 and also you need to get the minimum score. So it's not just the minimum stations passed, you need to also get the minimum score, which is based on the cohort for that day. So I remember when I was doing my PLAB 2 exam, I didn't know this, but I went to an academy like most people do for PLAB 2. And when I turned up to my exam, there were a few people who had booked the same day as me from my academy. And we had all been practicing together. And when they saw me, they were like, oh my God, Hadil is here on the same day. And I got some really dirty looks. And I was like, what on earth is going on here? And I just, anyway, so I just did my exam. And then when I came out, they all said to me, we were really, really not happy to see you here. And I was like, why aren't you happy to see me? And they were like, because we know that you're going to push the average up. So I was like, wow, that's a really nice compliment that you have that confidence in me that I'm going to get good marks. But, everyone passed that day. I didn't mess up well, hopefully. I don't know. Obviously, there were people I didn't know who had the exam on the same day, but yeah. Okay, so it's not just that, you're sort of competing with the people on the day as well. So if there's a very strong candidate on the day, you're going to have to perform that much better, okay? And then the exam is in 3 domains. There's data gathering, which is your history taking. Then there's IPS, or interpersonal skills, and then there's management. Now, guys, IPS is demonstrated throughout the station, so don't worry about those marks, and you'll get them. But you need to have enough time for management, guys. I cannot. I've examined and I've marked these exams and I've done mocks, and I can't give someone a good mark if they've completely, you can do excellent history taken. Well, we know you can do history taken, really. All I'm interested in the history taken is that you've covered red flags, okay? But if you're not doing the management, I can't justify giving you that mark. I can't, because I don't know what you would have done. Were you going to address the red flags? Were you going to address the social aspect of the case? How am I supposed to know? Okay, so please, 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 I can't emphasize enough. You need to leave enough time for management, okay? Don't wait until you get that bell that says there's 2 minutes left in the station and then go into panic mode and start management. No, you want to have already started management by the time you hear that 2-minute buzzer, okay? So you will hear 3 bells. The first one is to actually enter the station, because you would have had a minute and a half outside to read the station. And, if there's information there in the station, you should recall it in the actual case. So it says, so Mr. Smith, I read on your record that you have a daughter. Can you tell me a bit about her? Or I read on your record that you have high blood pressure. Can you tell me a bit about the medications that you take for high blood pressure? There's a mark for using the information that's given to you. Okay, so a minute and a half outside the station, you hear the first bell, you go in, then you get a second bell, and that tells you there's 2 minutes left. And then the third bell tells you, you need to move on and get out and go to the next station. Okay, you can't be sitting there in the third bell and trying to still, spew out management. You need to get going because the next person needs to come in. Okay. So the station inside is 8 minutes, okay? And then the total score is around 168, okay? So that's like the 100% perfect person, which, never happened in history, because there isn't really a perfect doctor. There are good doctors and bad doctors, or good enough doctors and bad doctors. And you need to be on the other side of that. You need to be in the former, okay?